and welcome back to another episode of the Haunted Book Club podcast. My name's Goose. Let's start off today's episode with Bean's joke of the day.
It's Kickin' Road Chicken. I go for it directly because of my poker addiction. Thinks he's bluffing.
The story is called Ghost Hollow. Not too far from Harding's Point, New Brunswick, you'll find Ghost Hollow, one of almost a half-dozen places on the map named Ghost something. Legend says there's a family by the name of Lasky. The family had 2 boys. Some say they were twins. Others just say they just looked a lot alike. The younger spent his evenings relaxing on a boulder by the nearby brook, and he'd smoke his pipe. Passers-by would recognize him by the little glowing embers in his pipe. At the end of an extremely busy day on the farm, the young man ended up asleep on the boulder. He caught a chill, and it may as well have been the touch of death, for within a week, he passed away. Losing a sibling can really make you feel lost. That's exactly what happened to the elder brother. With his brother gone, he decided to take his place on the boulder. Every evening, he picked up the same smoking habit. Back when this happened, it took a while for word to get around about the younger Lasky's death, but that's when the rumors spread about the boulder being haunted in conversations around town. People would dare each other as an act of courage or ask if a priest would go bless the stone and put the boy to rest. The only one brave enough to go check was a boy by the name of Andrew McTavish. He told his friends, "I'll go up there tonight." His friends were nervous. "What's wrong? You'd think you're the one that saw the ghost." His friends retorted, "You can't go at night." Andrew said cockily, "Man, you cannot see a ghost during the day. At least I never have." Andrew waited long enough that it wasn't technically evening anymore. The moon was bright and high, and it lit up the entire valley as though it was daytime. A sound in a nearby tree made him almost fall. "Andrew, you buffoon, it's only an owl. Now calm down, we're almost there." In the distance, he could see a small light, but wasn't sure if it was a so-called ghost or a firefly. A car came speeding past Andrew, and they drove up the road. Andrew watched as the car almost went off the road by the boulder, and he heard a woman screaming. The car took off as fast as possible. This didn't help his nerves any. As it got closer and closer, he watched the light again, and it wasn't a firefly, for it stayed too still. He bent over and got a handful of little pebbles. Got about 9 meters from the figure, and he started to yell, "Hey, excuse me, I got a couple questions for you." The figure made no movement of acknowledgement, just kept smoking the pipe in silence. Andrew took a few steps forward and tried again. "Hello, sir. Are you mortal?" For some reason, he thought he needed to be more formal and blunt. When the question went unanswered, he took a couple of the pebbles and threw them. He heard one hit the brook and another hit a tree, but one of them sounded like it hit the boulder. He called out, "Excuse me!" And this time he tossed a couple more pebbles, still hearing them hit the boulder or the grass. He decided in frustration of being ignored that he would walk right up to the stone. "Excuse me!" the figure replied. "You can see me?" Then the Lasky boy got up and took off running towards his home. Andrew gave chase, but within moments, he lost sight of the boy. He gave up and returned home, unsure what he'd tell his friends. But he thought to himself with a smirk, who'd have thought ghosts could run that fast? The story is called The Legend of the Devil at the Dance. It happened the night of Francois Tremblay's homecoming. His parents decided to throw a big welcome back party. They invited all their close family and friends, and news got around because everyone who ever met Francois showed up. It could be in genuine celebration that Francois returned home safely, or it could be for the dancing and alcohol. The party went on for hours. They had the best musicians in town come out to keep the party going. Around midnight, there's the sound of a horse trotting near the Tremblay house. Then, there's a knock at the door. Francois's little sister, Chantal, went and answered the door. Standing there was the most beautiful man she had ever seen. He was wearing a fabulous sealskin cloak, a beaver fur top hat, and a suit made with the finest silk, and a beautiful pair of moccasins covered with beads of all colors and porcupine quills. Chantal stood a moment staring in awe at his beauty. Then, when she realized what she was doing, she stepped aside, blushing, said, "Please come in, monsieur." He gave a hat tip and stepped over the threshold. Chantal offered to take the stranger's traveling clothes. He removed his hat, letting his long, black, curly hair tumble and unravel from a makeshift bun all the way down his back. He gave her his hat and his cape, but for some reason, he kept his gloves. Chantal assumed it was to show off. She went and put the stranger's stuff down, and then went back to stand with her parents. The mysterious stranger made his way around the room. Everybody watched him, some with fascination, others intimidated. When he made the full circuit of the room, he made a beeline back to Chantal and her parents. "Bonsoir, Monsieur et Madame Tremblay. I would like to request your permission to dance with young mademoiselle." "S'il vous plaît?" "Bien sûr, monsieur." The stranger raised up his hand and led her to the dance floor. Everyone cleared space for them. They got in position to start to dance when Chantal felt she needed to warn him. "I'm not well adept at dancing," she said coyly, knowing very well she was one of the best dancers in town. "Mon chéri, you'll be splendid." She blushed again, and the musicians started up the next song. They tapped and twirled around the room as they went. Slowly, with each pass of the room, more couples left the moves the stranger had. To challenge the duo, the band sped up, and as they went faster, so did the dancers. Finally, when the band decided to give up because they couldn't go any faster, Chantal took a breath of relief. "I was worried we were going to set the floor on fire." The stranger chuckled and returned the young lady to her parents. The stranger went off to get a refreshment. "Hey, sir, who did you sell your soul to dance like that?" The man joked. "Ah, it's nothing like that, mon ami. I just have a very active social life," I replied, walking back with his cider. On his way back, he passed a young woman, and he stopped and eyed her necklace. "That's beautiful, but I don't think gold and emeralds suit you. Silver, that goes more with your complexion. And I hazard to guess your birthstone is ruby, no? And I just happen to have a perfect locket right here in my pocket." "Oh my, that's beautiful. But I couldn't part with this. It was a gift from my meme." The girl's grandmother was standing nearby and heard her mention her. "What are you tattling about me, dear?" "Oh, no, meme. This nice gentleman thinks that ruby and silver look better on me, and he wanted to trade this locket for the cross you gave me." "Oh, monsieur, I won't allow you to do that. Come along, ma belle." And the grandmother led the girl away. The girl and her grandmother had a chat in the back bedroom about what had happened. "You stay here, ma belle, and pray. I know what to do to deal with him." The grandmother covered her hands with some of the holy water that the family kept in their bedroom, and she went to the room where the party was, and up to the front door, and drew a cross on it with the holy water. As she entered the party, she raised her hands and did the sign of the cross while praying. The stranger hissed and pounced onto the ceiling, crawling towards the front door till he noticed the cross on the door. In frustration, he screamed and smashed his way through the front wall of the house. He hopped on his horse, and they galloped away, leaving spots of flames everywhere the hooves touched. Like a scene reminiscent of a cartoon, there was an almost perfect shape of a man in the wall. That ended the party pretty quickly. Francois and a couple of his friends moved an armoire in front of the hole, and they would get a local mason to come fix it in the morning. That's exactly what Mr. Tremblay did the next morning. He took a horse, went into town, and returned with a mason, got right to work fixing the wall. This'll be pretty easy, the man figured. Little did he know how wrong he would be. Put a plop of mortar and place a stone. And when he turned to get more mortar to put the next stone, the first one would go flying off the wall. You heard that right. Fly, not fall. The best Mason got was 4 stones in the wall before they would explode out like they were reenacting what had happened the night before. The wonderful homecoming party ended up causing the family to move. Living in New France, what's now called Quebec, you can't survive the winter with a gaping hole in your wall. Legend says that the house was still standing for many years. I couldn't find any evidence of it. Thank you for listening to the Haunted Book Club podcast. If you have any stories that you'd like me to read, please email me at haunted.bookclub.podcast@gmail.com. Have a great day.